Welcome to the Prosperity Profiles Podcast, sponsored by Prosperity Profilers, LLC. They'll help you look prosperous, feel prosperous, and be prosperous. We hope you listen often, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Now, here's your host, four-time #1 best-selling author, speaker, and business coach, Holly Porter.
Hey everyone, this is Holly Porter coming at you with another day of the podcast and another one of our fabulous The 40/40 Rules Wisdom from 40 Women Over 40 authors. And today I have my good friend, Daria Dillard Stone. How are you?
I'm good, Holly. How are you?
I am so good, and I'm so happy to have you on here because you have all this wisdom that you were able to share with us in the book. And so you're my special guest today. And I just love you. And she's got such a great heart. And she also is a minister. So of course she has a great heart. She does wonderful things in the world. And we want to spotlight her today. So I'm going to share a little bit on your bio about you to everybody.
Okay.
Daria and I met through another group that we were in, and so we got to see each other every week on Zoom, and I got to meet her in person last June of 2018.
Yes.
Way back in Ohio, where she lives actually in Dayton, Ohio, she lives, and so I got to meet her. And so Daria's a minister again. She encourages and empowers others to be champions of courage and positive change. She is the recipient of many awards, including the Women of Influence by Young Women's Christian Associations with the YWCA, where over 700 attended the award luncheon. She's also received a Golden Globe Community Service Award by Dayton Alumnae, chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Did I say that right?
Yes.
And she is also a transformation coach and has transformation coach and recognition manager for Transform International's Mastermind team. Daria is an international known motivational speaker, and I can attest to that, and a presenter. She is an award-winning author of the book Success Powered by Relationships, co-authored with 20 other women, sharing how they have reached success and meeting the needs of others by being a connector and building a network. And she is now officially a #1 best-selling author of The 40/40 Rules, Volume 2.
Yay! That is exciting.
So,
that is so exciting.
So I'm thrilled to have Daria as my guest. And Daria is a great leader. And I will tell you a little story about her for a second. She came to my event in Las Vegas end of September 2018. And, you know, she was just there for support, and I needed help, and she was there, and she got to fill in a couple times on stage for me. And I was so grateful for her because it was the first event of this brand. And so there was, you know, the timing sometimes is not always perfect, and you're working through all the bugs, and she just got up there like a pro, like we had planned it all along, and no one knew any different, right?
Right. That's how you do your girlfriend.
Absolutely.
That's how you do it.
She is amazing. So tell us your story. Let's see. I know you love to be different and unpopular.
Well, and the thing about it, I've learned to be different and unpopular in a good sense, because if you think about it, guys, when we were young, we were always told to do it this way, do that way, don't say nothing. If somebody don't say nothing to you, you speak as when spoken to. Don't be out of character, don't get out of line. So mentally, I realized as I got older, you know what, I still hear those tapes in my head. And as I'm becoming an entrepreneur, I find myself sometimes I'm holding back. Oh, nobody else did that. Nobody asked the question. Well, I don't know what she's talking about. I need to ask, and I'm looking around. So I decided, you know what? And Transform taught me this very well. I said, you know what? I'm going to stop trying to fit in everybody's box. I just don't. I'm not going to apologize anymore. It's not a bad thing. It's just, my name is Daria. Yours is Holly. Somebody may be named Cynthia. And all of us are going to have success. but my success may not and probably will not be the same as yours. However, we're always in a position of rising, and when we rise, we should be in a position of bringing some folks with us. So I learned to be a trailblazer. My girl, we just celebrated our 50th class reunion, high school class reunion in June of 2018. And my classmates told me, had no idea. They said, Daria, you have always been different. I'm the chair of the class. You've always been different. And I'm like, I didn't know how to take that. I'm like, what? No, in a good way. You talk to all the kids that nobody would play with or talk to, the bad kids that got in trouble at juvenile court, the kids that were developmental disabled, or what. You was all in that. You invited them to everything you did, gave them tickets to when you were singing. I sang in a band growing up. And when I authored the book, there's like, we're not surprised of any of this. Well, you're just that kind of person that what do, but Daria's going to end up being something good. And I'm like, I never knew you all felt that way. She said, we did because you were different. The teachers, you would even disobey the teachers, but you would do it in such a sweet way. It's like, you don't even get disciplined.
That's funny.
Because I'm like, do I really have to think like you just said? Do I have to think like that? Yeah. And I have questions, and you tell me I can't ask a question because my questions are not valid. I'm not smart enough. It was hard for me to get out of that box, Holly, and I finally broke out of it. And I realized that, you know what? People have to realize it's okay to be different. It's okay to be unpopular. You don't have to do what everybody's doing, but just be doing something. Yeah. And don't use excuses about your past, about your pain, about your struggles, about what they said. That should motivate you to be determined. If anything, I got to get away from that because I'm going there. So leave that alone and come and let's go there. Right.
It's funny you say the unapologetic, I totally can relate to. In fact, this morning, I realized that it was a birthday of a very good friend of mine that I don't talk to a lot anymore, but it was her birthday yesterday. And, we happened to have our book launch, and I forgot. I just totally forgot. I said something this morning, but you know what? As I was writing it, normally it would be, I am so sorry. I didn't do that. I stood in my power, and I thought, no, I had things going on, a big day for myself.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I love her. And so I just said, happy birthday, like it was today.
Exactly.
I wanted to make sure she knew I was thinking about her. I care about her. And you know what? I saw that she liked all my posts yesterday that we were launching. I saw her on there. So I know she knows I was busy. I don't have to say I'm sorry. And that's a lesson for me to learn, is to be apologizing all the time. And it's like, it feels icky to have to feel sorry all the time. It's like, no, stand in your power.
Exactly. I am totally in agreement. And a simple task like that was a big step for me years ago, because I was always apologizing.
Yes.
And my husband would say, baby, you forgot. You have a right to forget. You can't remember everything. But I want to be perfect over here. I want to be perfect. And women, I'm talking to you, men and women out there listening. If you're really honest with yourself, you do want people to like you, but you need to understand everybody's just not going to like you. And it's okay. But do you like yourself? See, that's the whole thing. A lot of stuff stems from us. It's not, you put it on other people, but the core is with you. If you can look at you and say, you know what, you messed up a couple of times. In fact, you embarrassed yourself too. Learn from it. Don't let it hurt you. Let it help you. And I would go, I'm sorry, the reason I didn't get to go to your birthday party was because I did. And my husband go, why are you writing a letter on a card? You ain't got to explain why you didn't get to go. No. Hi, Holly, happy birthday. Hope you enjoyed your day. Love, Daria.
Absolutely.
That was so liberating for me, but it was a domino effect. So once I did that in that little way, I started doing it in everything else, Holly. I got out of a lot of organizations, and I vowed not to get into any group unless they were making impact, transformation, or doing something good where the whole community or the world will benefit. It ain't about my little me, you, and I group. I can't do that. I never did that anyway, but I just got out of stuff. What are you doing? I got people to socialize with. I don't really need to go out to dinner with you. What are you doing now? If you're taking some homeless women, or you're doing some women, some teenagers, or some mothers that don't get a chance to get their nails done, yeah, let's go do that. But I stopped trying to be what everybody's expected me to be. And then this tendency, like I'm 67, right? I know I don't look it. Thank you, Jesus.
You do not.
Why do my friends, most of them, want to know when you gonna sit down? Girl, you know you're 60-something years old. We the same age. And you know what I used to do, Holly? Explain. This is exactly what I do. Somebody asked me, Daria, when in the world? Girl, you everywhere. When are you gonna sit down?
Why? Yeah.
Silence. I don't owe you an explanation about my life.
No.
And what I'm doing with it.
No.
And if you were really a good friend, you'd already know.
Right.
So those are things you learn.
Yeah.
And I'm a sponge. I'm a lifelong learner, Holly. I learned from you. When me and you met, it was like, she knows something I don't know. And I love that. I compliment people. I want you to know, okay, so you said that. Now, what is that? Oh, everybody knows what that is. I said, well, I don't. Yeah. Somebody said, I don't know. Okay, you do? Okay, hold on. Let me put that in my phone because I want to. And I'm serious. Okay, now that I got it, but I will always remember you because you taught me something I didn't know. You may not have said a word, but I watched you. You taught me something I needed to hone in on. You strengthened me in some kind of way. Why have people in your life if they're not going to do that?
I agree. Well, I think everybody can teach you something. And if people are in your life that are teaching you maybe how you don't want to be, or maybe
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
You walk away, and you need to know how to recognize that quickly and do that.
Exactly.
That's been the hard lessons for me is I tend to think they'll change or they'll do this differently or whatever. But sometimes you got to step back from the situation and go, what's best for me right now is to walk away.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Is there value in serving others that motivate you when you're an entrepreneur?
Yes, there is value. And I had to struggle with being an entrepreneur because an entrepreneur is supposed to get paid. You can't be an entrepreneur, fellows. Hey, who's listening? You cannot be an entrepreneur and not get paid. But when I started really going into this 10 years ago and getting serious about building my business, sharing ministries after my husband died, and that too was a pain that gave me purpose. I wouldn't have been doing this. I was hurting so bad. It's like, it's got to be better than this. And I just started doing something, the website or whatever. And what I realized is that I had been serving others all my life and loved it. I was the oldest of 12 growing up. So I had to be serving brothers and sisters, be a role model, get good grades, make sure you do this. And so as I got older and I started asking people, when they asked me to speak or sing or be the coordinator of their fashion show, I said, well, I charge X amount of dollars an hour. Oh, you never did charge us before. Oh, thank you. The reason I'm able to charge now is because of you. You guys helped me grow. Alina Rarick taught me that. I didn't know to say that. I'm like, what do I say to people I've been working with all my life and 20 years? Just politely say, oh, you know what? I never did charge you, but it's because of you and your organization and your group that now I'm now able to charge because you guys helped me develop my skills, my gifts. Now, if they value you, Holly, they're going to be with you. And you can always give them a break. But if they don't, then you need to move on.
Yeah.
And a lot of them didn't. They just didn't see any. Well, what they were saying, what I was saying is, I don't see any value in paying you, but doing it for free is awesome. Let me give you a gift card and some flowers.
Yeah.
And you should be happy. Well, I had to move. They are still in the same place they were, but Daria has moved. So that's another thing we got to learn to do when we come to being an entrepreneur. Everybody's not going to see our vision. They're not going to even understand our plan or purpose. It's not theirs, it's ours.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you keep moving. Don't worry about what they're saying, what they're not saying, what they're thinking. If you really believe that what you're doing is what you're supposed to do, you're going to be isolated as God prepares you before he elevates you. So the isolation is a preparation for elevation.
Yeah.
So just do what you know is in your heart to do. Whether anybody's ever done it or not, even if they've done it, they're not going to do it like Holly. They're not going to do it like Daria.
No.
You know, so many times, well, we got enough books about that. We got enough stuff, tapes about that. You ain't never got one of my tapes.
Right. I agree with you 100%.
So if you don't love and believe in you, why would you expect me to?
Yeah.
And it is a hard lesson. Now, it ain't easy.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Everybody needs to do their own work. Like, do the work.
Dude, that's good.
If you need some personal development, get it,
Get it.
because maybe there's something off, and like I said, figure it out quickly and get it figured out, and then things will go so much better.
You make a good point. I had to go to grief counseling, Holly, and I'm not ashamed to say it, for 2 years after my husband died, because I couldn't get it together.
Right.
I was living, but my kids said, Mama, you were existing.
Yeah.
I never knew I would need help. 2 years, twice a week. And it helped me develop and come out into a person who is a widow, but the widow ain't no death sentence unless I make it one. But I did. I got the help. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that I became so vulnerable that I realized you messed up, Daria. You in here, it ain't like it used to be.
Right.
And people loved me enough to walk that path with me and not just throw me to the curb. And the ones that throw me to the curb, they're not going where I'm going anyway.
Right. What you say, part of that, and recognizing you needed that help and you getting that help, what you label that as self-care? Like, really, that's
Sure enough. Exactly. Nobody did that for me. Nobody told me to go. I realized I got to get out of this, whatever this is, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
As much as my children love me, they didn't either. They just knew I was different, and it was getting worse.
Well, they were probably the wrong ones to help you. Like,
Yeah.
At some point, there are reasons professionals are professionals. That's why they go to school and learn what they do to help people, that need the help. Like, right?
That's true.
Sometimes we can a friend can help us. Sometimes a family member can. Sometimes we need professional help. Sometimes we need medication. Like, I believe in medication, but there are times, especially when it's some mental, and sometimes, you know what, I remember after Scott and I got married, we put 8 kids together. We had a whole house full of teenagers, and then we had 2 of our kids that were one of his and one of mine they end up getting married,
Right.
So to each other, not anyway.
Right.
And we went through all that, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my friggin' mind. Right.
Right.
And
right.
I went to the doctor and got on some antidepressants because I felt like I needed some stillness.
Been there, done that. Right. I've been there, done that.
For about 8 months. And then one day I literally, I didn't just quit cold turkey because you can't do that, but I literally I'm okay. I feel like I'm okay. And I got off that fast. So for me,
you had to go through that to get through that.
You do. And I think it's that whole thing of recognizing quickly, using some self-care to realize, that is part of your self-care. Self-care means different things for everybody, but
and something I'm gonna say this, my daughter told me, she said, Mama, you have to learn how to give yourself what you give people. And I'm like, what are you saying? You give people your best, but you do not give yourself your best. And I just broke out crying because she was kind of adamant. You give everybody the best of Daria, but Daria don't get the best of Daria. I'm like, I do that? Yeah. And that's when I said, you know what? I need to know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. And I went to counseling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm an adventurer. I love it because I have become an adventurer. I don't never know what's next. I really don't. And I fall down, Holly, but I get up and I'm like, okay, that didn't work. And I brush myself off and I'm like, what's next, Lord? Because I sure ain't quitting. And quitting is not an option. We have to get to a point where we say, no matter what, quitting is not an option.
Okay, but I will add to that. It's called pivot. Sometimes we don't have to quit, But sometimes if you realize you're up against a wall and you're not going to keep moving forward because you keep hitting the same wall, then you need to back up, pivot, and go a different direction. So that's
I like that. I like that.
changing what you're doing. You know,
I like that.
Is the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same
Doing
thing.
the same thing and expecting the same results, different results. I mean, expecting different results.
And go a different direction. Don't quit, because that's not quitting. That's recognizing
Right.
you need a change and you need to do it differently and you need to do it now.
Right.
Okay, another question I have for you. Would you ever embarrass yourself on purpose? Do you find that liberating?
I have done that. It's funny. You should even ask that, because I didn't realize it would be liberating, but it was. And the example was, I was at a conference this happened in the 80s. And I went to a conference. It probably was about 700, 800 people there. And the speaker was on stage, and the speaker asked, are there any questions about anything I just said about anything? Girl, the speaker lost me like 30 minutes ago because she used this big word that I had never heard. So everything after that, it was like she's speaking Japanese. Because I'm like, dang, what does that mean? So anybody have any questions before I go on? So I raised my hand. And people, you would have thought I got butt naked.
Wow.
They looking. I said, I wanted you to explain to me, what is facetious? And spell that for me. Had my little pad, girl, my little suit on. And do you know, me and that speaker to this day are best of friends. She said, let me tell you something. I knew you were unique the day you stood up and did what everybody else wanted to ask questions, but they didn't have the boldness to do. Yeah. You embarrassed yourself in order to get the answer you needed right at that time in your life.
Right.
She said, how did that feel? I said, at first, I was embarrassed, but then all of a sudden I was liberated because I got what I wanted. I got the meaning and everything. I'm like, and I used to add a word to my vocabulary every day. I got another word. That's what I thought. Nobody knew what my reason was. Right. So if they think I'm dumb, they can think whatever they want, you know, but that speaker thought highly of me, and we've stayed they're dead now. We stayed in contact, and I'm like, I didn't know it would turn out where I got applauded for speaking out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was liberating.
Yes, yes, I love that. Wow, that's amazing. Well, our time's about up. Do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with? And also, I'd love for you to share your contact if anyone wants to get a hold of you.
Yes, I would love to do that. Let me just do that now while I'm thinking about it. Sharing Ministries was a labor of love, if you will, and it was birthed out of pain of the death of my husband. It became in existence in 2010, and you can reach me at www.sharing-ministries.com. And also you can reach me on Facebook under Daria Dillard Stone. I have a book club called Blessed with Success Book Club, and that's also on Facebook. But if I leave you with anything, I want you to remember that sometimes in life, me and you, I won't give you anything to chew on that I have not already digested. We have to learn to pause, to park, to pray, to prioritize, and then go. Pause, park, pray, now prioritize. Why do you pause? Pause means you don't really stop. You just make an interest. It's like a four-way stop sign. It's not a stoplight. So sometimes in life, you got to pause and really consider, are you going the right direction? Are you with the right people for the right reasons? And then sometimes you park and it's like, you know what? This is where I'm going to stay for a while until I get it together. I got a destination, but I haven't reached it yet. And then once you pray, you realize that when you pray, you will find out how you prioritize. And once you prioritize, it's time to go.
Love it. Oh, those are great words of wisdom, which is why you're one of the authors in our wisdom book of 40/40 Rules.
And I'm so honored. That is an awesome book. My chapter is under new management. Guys, get that book. working with those 40 wonderful women that Holly Porter put together was nothing short of a miracle. It is, I'm still elated. It's just amazing what that book has done for us. I know for me, and if you get it, what it's going to do for you.
Yeah, there's some great women in there. It is amazing. I've loved the connection with everybody. So, okay, so
thank you, Holly, for having me on your show.
I loved having you, and we'll put her contact information, Daria's contact information, in the show notes below, so you'll get it there. She also said it. If you didn't grab it, you'll be able to grab it there in writing. And go check her out. She's got a website. She's got, a couple books now. So check her out and see what an awesome lady she is if you didn't already figure that out. And we will see you again at another day at the podcast. Thanks, Daria, so much.
Thanks, Holly.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Prosperity Profiles Podcast, sponsored by Prosperity Profilers, LLC, helping you look prosperous, feel prosperous, and be prosperous. We hope